If there's two things I know just about everybody loves these days, it's anime and video games. So of course it's no shock at all that we have anime games now. Though when I say anime games, I don't mean the ones from series that have been game franchises since their creation like Dragon Quest, Tales, and Persona, even though they technically are anime games. What I'm talking about are games made from franchises with actual anime and manga roots like Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia, and Demon Slayer, or licensed anime games as they're called. Now I know that there's a lot of fighting games from those series, but you never really see that many games of other genres outside of a few somewhat high budget games that get released here and there. Let me talk to y'all about it. Now, I don't have any beef with licensed anime fighters or any online anime games as a whole. Most of them are pretty decent. Emphasis on most of them. It's just the fact that there are so many of them compared to any other type. At this day and age, just about any time an anime game gets announced for all the major platforms, 9 times out of 10 it's just going to be some arena fighter that winds up getting played for like a month and pretty much forgotten by the gaming community outside of a few loyal players soon after. Not all games in the genre are like that of course, but you get my point. And yes, I know mobile anime games exist, but I'm gonna be honest y'all, they simply just exist. They're just the white noise of the gaming industry that barely anyone even acknowledges. That's all I got to say about them. You see, making a game like My Hero 1's Justice 2 or One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, is a really fast way for a company to make some extra money since A. Anime fighters are relatively cheap to make compared to other types of games. B. Releasing new fan favorite characters after a new anime season or movie as DLC is pretty much the perfect way to milk the game for all it's worth and breathe some new life back into it. And finally C. They're pretty much guaranteed to sell. Especially if the anime the game is about is the big talk of the town in the anime community. For example, if you're a major Demon Slayer fan, you most likely be interested in the Hinokami Chronicles since, well, it's Demon Slayer. And you most likely be interested in the new Daki DLC since she was such a major character in season 2. Now, I can't say they're doing anything shocking since these are big companies doing what big companies do at the end of the day. And not profiting off of all this stuff would be kinda stupid business wise. My issue though is that I know that these big franchises are capable of and deserve so much more than just some cheap cash grab. It's not like something bigger than a simple fighter can't exist either because, despite its flaws, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is a really good game. I done spent over 70 hours in the game at the time of writing this script, and I've yet to play the Gohan and Future Trunks expansion and all the post-game content the game has to offer. A game like this provides you with a better experience as a full-on anime game over something like Dragon Ball FighterZ in my opinion, and there is reasons for that. They all boil down to 3 factors. The fact that it's PvE instead of PvP, the overall scale, and the fact that it's just something different. Let me explain. Okay, so PvP or player versus player is your typical multiplayer game where everybody's on a pretty much equal playing field no matter what character you're playing as or what powers or abilities said character may have, meaning that canonically weak characters have an actual chance of beating a canonically strong character. For example, in Dragon Ball FighterZ, Krillin has a chance at beating Vegeta in a one-on-one fight. But we all know if they were to fight in the anime, Krillin's gonna die like half a second into the fight. But in PvP or player versus environment, things don't exactly work like that. For example, y'all know how in an RPG, if you're at a higher level than your opponent, you can make short work of them no problem. But if y'all are around the same level or they have a higher level than you, a game over screen might be heading your way. Things like this allow for gameplay opportunities that PvP games can't provide you with, like giving you crazy strong super moves that actually do as much damage in a fight as they normally would in the anime they originated from, or having fights against characters that, during the fight, feel like they're really as powerful as they are in the show they're from, and show that they're a real force to be reckoned with by giving them unique qualities like special moves that will otherwise be broken in a fighting game, or small cutscenes where they get even more powerful in the fight. It all adds to the feeling of truly playing the anime instead of just watching it, which is one of the main points of an anime game existing in the first place. Speaking of, that leads me to my next point. You see, like I said, anime games exist to provide the feeling of playing your favorite anime. And yes, fighting games are a good way to provide that feeling, but there's way more to an anime than just the fights that take place in them. You have the story, the world, all the characters, and a whole bunch of other stuff in between. All of that comes together to make the anime, well, the anime. A fighter can try his best to incorporate all this stuff through its stages, its roster of characters, its pre and after fight dialogue, its story mode, and the game's overall aesthetics and its art style. It really just can't compare to something like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot in the upcoming One Piece Odyssey. I can't really count that as a flaw against fighting games since they're designed to be this way since again, it's all about the fights. But we wouldn't really have this problem if again, we didn't have so many fighters. This is where different genres come into play. Even though I would absolutely love a big open world adventure game made from a bunch of different anime series, that wouldn't exactly be good in the long run. Not every game needs to be insert anime here Breath of the Wild. We just have the same problem we have now. Instead of having too many fighters, we just have too many open world games. When thinking of what anime franchise should have a game made from it, companies really should put a lot of thought into the genre that will best suit the anime and do it the most justice. For example, I think a Demon Slayer game would do the most justice to the anime if it was a hack and slash. And Bandai Namco, the publisher and license holder for almost all the bigger anime games, can make a game like this happen since they pretty much already did last year with Scarlet Nexus. You see, in Scarlet Nexus, you fight monsters with a sword just like Tanjiro does in Demon Slayer. And if you take advantage of an enemy's weakness, you can do a cool finishing move on them similar to how Tanjiro does when he kills demons. Just replace the cybernetic art style with a more old-timey aesthetic from the Taisho era the anime takes place in, and all you gotta do then is make a few tweaks, add a decent story, and boom, you got yourself a Demon Slayer game that'll sell more copies than Devil May Cry. Also, even though I do want more types of anime games, I'm not saying that every anime needs a game made about it. I get it. These companies are just trying to make some extra money off a popular series, but let's be real. Who's about to buy a Dragon Maid shoot 'em up? Like, I'll be honest, I adore Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. It's one of my favorite series of all time, but I'm not buying this. Like seriously, who greenlit this? Anyway, in conclusion, I feel that our favorite anime franchises deserve much more love and effort put into them when making games about them. We've all seen how good traditional anime games can be, and I'd like to see licensed anime games be as good as them, because I know that they can do it if they really tried. There's nothing wrong with making cheap arena fighters every once in a while, but I do want higher quality games along with them, or at least for them to make different types of games instead of just fighters all the time. And from the looks of it, that's starting to happen more and more often with Dragon Ball The Breakers coming out and being decent. Also, we have My Hero Academia Ultra Rumble and One Piece Odyssey coming up, along with Dragon Ball Z Kakarot getting upgrades for the new current gen consoles and even new expansions. Plus there's the new 7 Deadly Sins and the new solo leveling games that got announced earlier this year that currently don't have release dates. Now how good all the new stuff is yet to be determined, but at the very least, we can all rest easy knowing that they're experimenting with new genres and that they still care about the single player market. Despite all this happening though, I don't really know what's in store for anime games in the future because legit anything can happen. But what I can say for sure is that I'm really excited for it. Howdy y'all, welcome to the end card. I hope you enjoyed my very first video. To the folks that know me, sorry it took me so long, and I hope the wait was worth it. To the new folks, if you like to keep up with me or give feedback on how to improve my content or simply just want to chat, my Twitter is right here. And if you like the video, give it a like and subscribe for more. Well, that's all I got to say. Have a good day y'all.